Well, hello. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. I hope you find it informative, and I hope that the techniques explained in this video help you to either get over your cold in a timely manner, make those allergies more bearable to you, or perhaps get out of the vicinity of an animal that you're allergic to in a timely fashion. In this video, we're going to be going over blowing your nose. Now, it just so happens that I appear to be having a cold coming on, so we can use that to our advantage, so I can more realistically assist you in learning how to perform this this common maneuver. Now, I'm using a box of Willow facial tissue. This is 2-ply white. There's 160 tissues in this box. Each sheet is 8.2 inches by 8.4 inches. Each tissue is approximately 1/9 millimeter in thickness. That's including the 2-ply. And as you can see, this one has a nice interesting pattern here on the outside of the box. We have some lines, some overlapping kind of Venn diagram-esque appearance that you can see there. You can compare this to Kleenex. It says right there on the box. And I find this tissue to be actually pretty good because it doesn't contain any Vaselines or lotions like some of the higher end, more expensive tissues do. But I find it to be pretty soft and not at all abrasive on the mucous membranes of the nose or the outer organ itself. And as you can see, they actually put a little cloud there, maybe to signify that it is a soft tissue and it's not going to hurt your nose. So that's important. So some people may call this wasteful, but I like to grab 2 tissues, depending on how sick I am, depending on how much mucus is coming out of my nose. I like to grab a couple sheets of tissue. Okay, because let's face it, when you got a raging cold, and you excuse me, but pardon me, when you're blasting mucus everywhere, you got just a whole bunch of mucus in your nose. Last thing you want is to pull out one of these things and blow it, and then you're going to be tearing the tissue, and it's going to be squirting all out through there into your hands, and it's just not something that you want to be dealing with, especially if you have guests over, or you're on a date or something what have you. So I like to grab 2 tissues, just like this. I put them right on top of each other. And like I said, some people may say that 2 tissues is a waste, but it makes me feel more secure about what I'm doing, and it makes me feel more secure about getting the job done and getting my nose clean without making a mess or a lot of loud, obnoxious noises. So I grab the 2 tissues like this, kind of hold them like this. The thumbs, as you can see, my thumbs are just kind of, you know, your standard 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock on this side. And up we go with the tissue. And at this point, as you can see, my thumbs are kind of cradling under my chin. See that? And that's for support there. See, if you don't put those thumbs underneath the chin, we're kind of moving around here, especially if we're in a moving vehicle. Excuse me about the the nasally voice. That's how you sound when you got your hands on your nose. You can't do much about that. A quality tutorial. I'm going to be doing it the way that you would do it if you were blowing your nose. So that's the reason for that. Now, if you're in a moving car, we're getting jostled all over the place. See that? Look at this. Whoa! We're going over the railroad tracks. Hit a pothole. See that? look at what's going on there. But if we use those thumbs, I just gotta see if we're up here, we're sitting like this, we're in a train or something. We got those two thumbs underneath the chin, right there, and that's acting as an anchor. See that? That's an anchor, and that keeps my hands from sliding around, especially if I'm blowing my nose, and then we got mucus shooting out all over the place. I'm holding this right there, and then I can just move on with the situation. So I like to use the two thumbs underneath the chin to hold everything in position. That's important to me. Now, we're going to move on. I'm holding, as you can see, this is a perfect opportunity here. I'm going to make a little mold in this tissue. You can show you just exactly where my nose is sitting. Okay? There we go. And don't worry, this is clean. My nose isn't running. Now, as you can see up there, it's a little hard to see. That's where my nose has made a little imprint there. And that's right where, excuse me, it's a good thing I had that tissue there, isn't it? Yeah. Holding it just like that. And now, as you can see, some people like to have all the fingers together, and other people like to just, add a little bit of room for airflow. Because it's physics. When air is leaving a certain environment, air has to come in to replace the air that has been alleviated. And sorry, I'm tripping over my words right now. I haven't done one of these in a while, so you have to forgive me about that. Fluid dynamics are the same way. If a fluid leaves a certain compartment, then there has to be something to come in to replace that fluid. So, if you're blowing air out of your nose, you got inflow jets, rushing into your mouth to replace that air that's going in, that's leaving the nostrils out of your lungs. So, that's one of the reasons that you can, have these fingers spread apart like that. I don't really think it's a big deal for myself personally. I get plenty of airflow because I just kind of tilt a little bit and let air gets filtered in there. So that's good. So the two thumbs under the chin, that's good. I'm holding up here. As you can see, the pinkies, they have room. There's freedom there. And the reason you do that is because when you're blowing your nose, you've got a lot of tension up here. So you can actually kind of, people will twiddle their thumbs when they're nervous, So to make yourself, if you're at a party or something, or in the company of a bunch of people that you might feel a little intimidated around, one of the things that you can do with those pinkies is just kind of, it's a little hard to do at first, but you just kind of, just twiddle those pinkies a little bit, Just like, you're blowing your nose and look over, you catch the eye of a businessman or something, and he's got the suit on, and you're looking like, this with sweatpants on or whatever, and you're just like, what's up, man? Just like, twiddling those pinkies a little bit, just to make yourself feel more comfortable about who you are, It's like, yo, I'm a human, so are you, just lighten the mood a little bit, So that's the freedom that I like with the pinkies, all right? So we're getting to the critical part here, the inhale before the blow, okay? So here we go. The inhale, I like to inhale through the mouth with the teeth like this. That's going to filter. It's going to filter any loose pieces of tissue. When they manufacture this tissue, unfortunately, machines are not perfect. Because humans are not perfect, and humans made the machines. See that? Pretty cool how that works, isn't it? So, the reason that I inhale, the teeth will filter out any loose pieces of that tissue. Now, if you open that mouth wide and make the gap between the two teeth big like that, you can suck something into your lungs and you can die. So you don't want to do it. You don't want to do that. That's just not a wise thing to do. And I'm going to illustrate that right now. All right? Now here's a piece of tissue. Now I'm going to risk my life actually to show you this. I'm going to inhale with my mouth open, and this is probably going to go pretty far down my throat. Okay. Well, there's the piece of tissue. It went down here, and I was able to cough it out. It's picked up some saliva, and therefore will not be sufficient in illustrating this because it's picked up some weight. So we're going to tear off another piece to portray just a loose shaving of tissue that might intermittently show up in a fresh box of tissue. Now, the correct way, not to say that it's the correct way, it's my favorite way of doing it, and I think that it's a safe way, and I recommend everyone to do it this way. So you got the tissue on here. The inhale before the blow, the initial inhale, which is important. We'll talk about lung capacity in that manner in a second. But we're going to talk about using those teeth to filter this out. Watch this. Oh, hang on. See that? The teeth filtered that little piece there and protected our lungs from something that would be bad. Get a piece of tissue in your lungs, it's not going to be good for you. All right? So, here we are again in the initial inhale position. Like this. Elbows are kind of, not too far out, so we take too deep of a breath, but in enough to where we have that kind of relaxed but ready posture. Okay? So one big inhale. Here's the pause. And this is the part where I like to blink a couple times just to make sure the eyes have not been too dried out by the presence of tissue, which is kind of inherently a dry material. So, the blow. Alright? So when I just did that, I actually pinched the nostrils together a little bit, as you could hear. Now the reason that a blowing of a nose is loud is because you're pinching those nostrils together. If you don't pinch the nostrils together, unfortunately, this can result in an insufficient expulsion of mucus. It might sound disgusting, but it's that's the way it is. So if you don't pinch the nostrils, it's going to be a much cleaner sound, but you're not getting the effective expulsion of the materials, of the sediment that has built up in the nose. So pinching that, what it's doing is it's causing a ruffling of the nostrils. Just a ruffling, and what that does is it builds up low pressure towards the base of each nostril, and it draws the moisture and the sediments out of the nose, sometimes deep within the sinus cavities. And it's that low pressure that literally draws all that mucus out and enables you to have a sufficient expulsion of material. So once again, people ask me how much pressure do I apply on the nose? Well, if you take your ear, you can see you got an ear there. See that? And if you take your fingers like this on the lobe of the ear, you can feel that it's all right. It's not too soft, not too hard. Now, if you take this other part of the ear here, the top here, and fold that down, right when it starts to hurt, like right there. Yeah, that doesn't feel very good at all, but I'm doing this for you. so you can blow your nose like a pro. See that? That hurts. Now, when it starts to hurt, that is how you know that the pressure is sufficient in causing our low pressure to build up at the entrance of each nostril. Okay? So just think about that. When did my ear start hurting? You know? All right, right there. All right? So take that pressure and apply that to your nose, and that's how you can get a sufficient seal on the nostrils. All right, so back where were we? Blowing our nose. Okay, so right there on the nose, right there. Now after the blow, depending on how successful of a blow it was, what we're doing is we're just kind of peeling that tissue downward like that, as to trap the secretions in the tissue. Now this is a rookie move here that makes me, you know, a little uneasy when I see people doing this, especially when I'm in a restaurant. They'll blow, and then, you know, they will successfully, you know, kind of pull that down like they should, but then they make the rookie mistake of looking in there. And it's not the greatest thing to do. It's not a very professional thing to do, you know. It's like you just blew your nose, you know. Are you not confident that you just blew your nose and it was a successful maneuver? Is that what the deal is? Maybe, because you're not following these rules. If you blow your nose and you really know what you're doing, you don't have to look in there and see what's going on. You already know whether or not it was a successful maneuver. All right? So here's the correct way to do this. The blow, we're peeling it down just like that. What I like to do, depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed, is you tilt the tissue like this. All right? So now we're not wasting at all. Like this. The next hand comes over here, and depending on whether or not you need to blow again, we are all set up for a secondary expulsion, okay? And there we go again. Look at that. Look at that. See that? We're already in our first position. We got the thumbs under the chin. We're ready to inhale with our teeth filtering out any tissue. Or now, in addition to those sediments of tissue, we don't want to inhale some more mucus into our body because we just got that out. That was the whole point of picking up the tissue and blowing our nose. So we don't want to do that, do we? So there we go. Perfect. And pinching again. Now, depending on how you're feeling, you could get away with a third use of this tissue, and we would do so by, now we're getting a little more detailed, so we might have to choke up a little bit on the tissue as you would on a baseball bat. You know, you're like, this is a little too big, we gotta choke up a little bit, you know. And usually by the third by the third blow, I'll take it like this, turn it, and now we don't blow anymore. 3 is your limit. Tissue is not that expensive. I'm here to tell you that. I'm here to tell you that tissue is not going to break your bank. So you don't want to be unnecessarily using tissue more than 3 times, because if you do, you're going to be getting some dripping going on, some spraying. You know, this might already be saturated completely. Okay. So 3 is the limit in my book. I'm actually thinking about, well, you know, now that's another story. We won't even think about excuse me, we won't even talk about that right now. So yes, 3 is the limit. After you're done with your third, we folded it again, and this one is just a little pinch, you know, just like that, you know. You're just kind of just getting up in there a little bit, you know, into the mucous membranes of the nose. And you're just going to pinch it like that. So now we're done with this. We're going to take this in our hand, just kind of squeeze it a little bit, not too much, you know, because we don't want to run the risk of popping the tissue and having all of it, you know, in your hand and draining all over the place. It's just disgusting when you really think about that. So, yes, that's about it. Toss it into the trash can, and if you need to do so, repeat the process. So I hope that this video helped all of you. And I hope that the next time that you're sick, or you have allergies, or you just feel like, you know what, I haven't blown my nose in a while, so I want to do it, whether or not there's anything going to come out of my nose. Because there are days like that. Believe it or not, there are days like that where you wake up and you go, you know what, I want to feel the soft feel of a Willow Kleenex. That didn't make sense because Kleenex is actually a brand. We'll talk about that in the next video. But there's some days you just want to blow your nose. You know? And you can do that regardless of whether or not you got snot in your nose. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you. Please feel free to ask as many questions as you want in the comments section. If you have recommendations, if you have some tissue brands that you would like me to review, please let me know. Thank you very much, and I hope that your nose blowing experiences will be enhanced from this point on as a result of this hopefully informative tutorial. Thank you.